what actually was the shot of the 2019 Snooker World Championships, and how hard are these shots to play in the real world? This is Break From Life. Welcome back, and if it's your first time watching one of our videos, then it's fantastic to have you here. I've decided to find out how hard it is to play all of the shots from the BBC Shot of the World Championships. To do this, I've had a rough guess at how many attempts it may take to play each one, and that's allowed me to order these shots from the simplest to play to the most difficult. So let's start with a shot that I think is going to take the least shots to recreate. Defending champion Marc played some brilliant shots in his second round match against David Gilbert, but ultimately they weren't enough to keep him in this year's championship. Now the first of these is a fairly standard shot that I expect to get roughly in about 4 attempts. But what exactly am I looking to do here? So to consider this shot a success, I need to pot the blue, come off 2 cushions, cannon the reds, and leave one of them in a potable position. To play this shot correctly, you need to strike the cue ball with a tiny bit of stun and a small amount of left-hand side. And it's the left-hand side that affects the path of the cue ball and what you need to be able to control to get the cannon on the reds. Because it's incredibly easy to play this shot with too much or too little side spin. But it's the sort of shot that comes up a lot, and this is why professional snooker players practice this type of shot quite a bit. Obviously I was never going to get the pack of reds to split in exactly the same way as Marc, but I did finish on one I can pot, and I think that's good enough. Not too difficult. It was all about judging the stun and side round 2 cushions, and unfortunately I think that's going to be the most straightforward shot to play on the list. Dice's Fusion is from Thunder Bay in Canada. In this match against Ding Junhui, Judd Trump managed to screw through the pack and leave himself nicely on the blue. I think I should be able to get this shot within about 5 attempts. With this shot, all I'm looking for is to pot the red and finish somewhere on the blue. Hopefully I get it in not too many goes, because I can see this as being a nightmare to get the reds back in the right place. I started attempting this shot with a tracer right hand side and a lot of backspin, but quickly realised that you needed a lot of right hand side and a lot of backspin to play this well. Judd was also helped by a red that he was able to pull out the pack, flicking the cue ball up the table, and it's unlikely that I'd be able to recreate this. Oh, that's annoying. The greatest difficulty is trying to pot the red, because you've got to play it with a lot of power, backspin and side spin, and get the red into the pocket from a surprisingly acute angle. Didn't play it perfectly, but did end up on an easy enough blue that I was able to pot it, so I'm going to say that was good enough. When Shaun Murphy decided to open the reds like this against Neil Robertson, it was certainly very attacking, but it left a lot to chance with regarding position. So that's why I'm hoping to get this within about 7 shots. With this shot, I'm looking to get into the reds and hopefully leave myself some sort of shot on the pink. I'm playing this shot with topspin and actually a fair amount of left-hand side. A big problem with this shot and a few others on the list is position is left quite a bit to chance. It's incredibly unlikely that Shaun was trying to play for the pink here. He's more likely trying to go up the table for the blue or bold colours. What makes this a good shot is the amount of power and left-hand side Shaun was able to accurately pot the ball with, because this really makes quite a straightforward shot missable. And I really don't know if I'd play this shot in a match, because it's very unlikely that you're even going to finish on a colour, and even more unlikely that you're going to finish on the pink. But after 10 attempts, I'd finally ended up in a position where I could flick the pink in with a tracer side. I think I'm on it. So good shot, but in a way, a little fortunate. This shot just shows how Gary Wilson was able to keep Luca Bressel from having a straightforward chance in their first round match. I expect to get this shot roughly within about 10 attempts. This is a really tough snooker to hit. All I'm really looking to do here is avoid the bold colours and finish nicely in amongst the reds. I'm not sure if I had all the colours in the correct place here or if I just chose a slightly different way of getting through them, but I certainly had a lot more side spin on the cue ball than Gary did. Either way, I think this is one of those shots that's more straightforward to play than it looks. Definitely a lot more straightforward than I thought it was going to be. I actually played the shot with more side spin and came the other side of the pink, but I think the next snooker escape is going to be a lot tougher. And just to show how determined Gary Wilson was to prevent Luca Brissell from having a straightforward chance, he's back again with this very well weighted snooker escape. I'd expect to get this within roughly 10 attempts. With this shot, not only have I got to hit this red, I've got to leave everything completely safe. I don't think there's any reason you can't play this shot completely plain ball, but for some reason I was just playing it with a tiny trace of left-hand side because it felt easier. Ideally with this shot you want to get the cue ball into these reds here and keep it completely safe, but unfortunately from this position I don't think there's any way of actually doing that. What Gary recognised was there was no straightforward pots on if you got the cue ball somewhere in this location, so he could afford to leave this short, but even this was difficult to do, and if you notice on my first attempt I knocked it past the reds and left a pot on. However, once I got the weight of the shot, the line wasn't as difficult to pick out as I feared it may be, meaning I was able to complete this shot in less attempts than I'd expected. Again, that was a lot more straightforward than I thought it was going to be, and it's quite a clever shot really, because if you don't over hit the ball and you leave it short, you're guaranteed not to leave a pot on. It wasn't all one-way traffic for Judd Trump this year, as Ding's about to show with this long-range plant. I'd expect to get this within about 12 goes, hopefully. This is a really tricky plant, but it's one of those that I would expect to get after not too many shots. This is the sort of plant that I'd expect to get within a couple of tries if I was in close range of it. Unfortunately, I'm at the other end of the table, and this makes it really tough to strike the first red exactly where you want to. With these shots, you're always trying to play the first ball towards a part of a cushion that will allow you to pot the second one. But that can be a challenge to work out, especially if the balls are as far apart as they are here. However, this shot wasn't too difficult to play, and I think it was the only one on the list I was able to recreate perfectly. John DeLisi is from Vermont in the United States of America. When David Gilbert was properly under pressure against Kyron Wilson, he was able to pull out this fantastic long red. I'd hope to be able to get this within about 13 tries. This is a really tricky long straight red, and I'm only going to count it as a success if I pot the red and finish on one of these 5 colours. This shot is played with topspin, and the difficulties of it are having to play a very straight red with a lot of power from quite close to the cushion. And even though he was playing the cue ball back down the table, I don't think there was any way that David would have got away with this had he have missed it. To play the shot well under pressure, you really need to focus on where you're going to strike the object ball. If you almost close your eyes and hope for the best, you're unlikely to have the same results on a shot like this because it requires your full attention. Actually a lot harder than I thought that was going to be. It's just the sheer power you had to play the shot at that made it tough. This shot that Marc Williams was able to pull out against David Gilbert I think represents a big step up in difficulty, and that's why I've given myself 20 attempts to get it right. This is where it really gets tough, and all I'm really looking to do here is pot the red and get the cue ball somewhere in and around the bulk area. I obviously started playing this shot with screw back, but also with a fair amount of left hand side to try and return the cue ball to bulk, and I realised about 12 shots in that I didn't actually need the side to get the cue ball behind the bulk line, because when I cannoned the blue this actually helped the white spin back towards the bulk cushion, and playing it as just a screw shot actually made the pot a lot easier. This is actually one of the difficultest pots to play on the list, but it's virtually risk-free because I can't leave any other red on than the one I'm playing. That said, it is an incredibly clever shot and a good way out of a difficult situation that Marc Williams found himself in. I was just unable to work out how he was able to get enough backspin on the cue ball to make it screw back, but a little enough that it came across the other side of the table. If it wasn't for the shot-to-nothing nature of this, I'd say it was the best shot on the list. That pot was really difficult, but because I was screwing off the red and the blue, it meant getting back to bulk was a hell of a lot easier than I thought it would be. Certainly a lot easier than it's going to be on the next shot. For WOD is from Karachi in Pakistan. This Alex Higgins style shot that Judd was able to pull out in the final was simply breathtaking, and if I can actually screw the cue ball back that far, I'm hoping to be able to get this within 22 shots. So I'm going to at least attempt to screw this back into bulk. I think I can do it, but you know, we'll see. I have to admit now, the cue ball was too far away from the object ball on this shot, which meant I had very little chance of making the cue ball screw back any more than a few feet. I was hoping though I'd be able to use some right hand side off the side cushion to help the cue ball screw back into bulk, but unfortunately the side cushion was just a little bit too far away and I didn't have quite enough angle. So I'm going to have to make do on this shot with just being on the blue. Well, I potted it, but unfortunately, even throwing my whole body at it, that's about as much as I've got. I mean, if it had been a little bit closer to the side cushion, I could probably use that to play it with some side, but yeah, there's nothing I can do, I think, to get it any further back than that, unfortunately. Gary Wilson's back again, this time with a snooker against Judd Trump. This is the shot that was actually voted as shot of the championships. But is it really that difficult to play? Well, just in case, I've given myself roughly 25 attempts to get this right. So what I'm looking to do with this shot is not only get the cue ball in behind the black, but also get the yellow somewhere in behind the brown. Now what makes this shot really difficult is you can't just play the shot, you have to judge a stun shot to get it right. Usually when you're playing a stun shot with side spin like this, it makes the cue ball's reaction very unpredictable. But fortunately with this shot, this wasn't anywhere near as much of a challenge as I worried it may be. The angle to play this shot was absolutely perfect, so it was just a case of seeing how good a snooker I could actually play. What made Gary's shot stand out as shot of the championship was how perfectly he got the cue ball and object ball behind colours, making it an almost impossible snooker to escape from. However, I wasn't trying to get this perfect, I was just trying to get the white behind the black and get the snooker behind all four colours. Now, although I haven't quite played that perfectly, I think you can hit it fairly comfortably off one cushion actually. Yeah. But it was actually a lot more straightforward to play than I thought it would be. I thought it would be really difficult to get the right stun side on the cue ball to get it behind the black, but it just felt very natural playing it, although it's a really difficult shot to get absolutely perfect. Shots from the finals day's play weren't included on this list, but would this shot from Judd have won if they were? This shot is potting the red and cannoning into the other red on the side cushion with topspin. You're then trying to double kiss the white off the red back down between the blue and pink for the black. I think this shot would have won if it had been included, but only if Judd had made the 147 after he potted this red. You could probably even say the same thing about John Higgins' double on his 147 attempt. In fact, you could probably include another 10 shots from the final day's play alone. But I'm not going to do that because this video is long enough already, and unfortunately my camera ran out of battery before I had time to play this shot properly. Ultimately though, I agree with the public's decision because I think Gary Wilson's shot was the best played shot on the list, even if it's a shot I can actually play. Now, I'm not saying that this shot from Gary Wilson wasn't the shot of the World Championship. He gets both balls in absolutely perfect position in this snooker. But for me, the hardest shot to play was this long screw shot from Judd Trump. However, I think if we'd been allowed to include his shot on the 147 attempt, where he canned the other red off the cushion and finished on the black, I think we'd be talking about this shot now. But anyway, that's just my opinion on it. Let me know what you think on the comments. And tell me what your favourite was, and if you want to see more recreated shots, then try our video Snooker Shot Challenge Accepted Masters 2019. And if you want to find out how Stephen Hendry changed the game, then try this video. And remember, don't just watch, play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel. See you later.